Stand by for action. Anything can happen in the next half hour.
Oh yes you did. Oh no I didn't. Oh yes you did. Oh no I didn't. Oh hi everyone. How you doing? Welcome to my channel. Hello. I'm just killing a bit of time there. I decided to build the F18. I've got the F16 already built but I haven't maidened it, so I thought if I get that built I could probably take them both at the field at the same time. Let's go do it. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. Here we have all the parts, and there's not much. Starting at the top we have the fuselage, and it's a single 50mm EDF unit. It's got a 30 amp electronic speed controller, and it's got 2 servos already set up. And to start with, I'll be using an AR630. Depending on how it feels, how I handle it, I will go to an AR, well it'll be an AR410. Then coming down we've got the main wings. The main wings also have servos already installed. Between those wings there is the spar. I don't know if it's carbon or fiberglass, but it's there. And next to the main wings I have the fins. There's no rudder. It's just a fin, and you can see I'm showing the interior, the inside of the fin, which is the sword, and the outside part of the fin, which is the eagle. Then coming down again, we've got the user manual. It's not much cop, to be honest. Then we have the nose cone, which is a hard plastic nose cone that's glued into place. We then have 2 long push rods, or longer than the 2 below it. They're 2 small push rods, all with clevises and a tiny thin strip of tubing. I will replace that with a thicker strip of tubing. Tiny bit of Velcro for the battery. I don't use these bits, they just go in my spares box. I'll be providing my own Velcro. Then we have the canopy. I'm leaving it grey around, but the actual cockpit glass piece will be painted black. And then finally we have the tail plane and elevators. That's all there is. I'm going to go and paint the cockpit, then we'll come back and we'll start the assembly. I've just had the cover for the EDF unit off, just to check the wiring, and the wiring actually has a clear plastic sheet over it with air vents cut out. I don't know if you can see in there, I don't want to take the fan out, but those wires I can't focus on them unfortunately. See if I come out more. There, they're actually under a clear perspex or a clear piece of plastic. And that plastic has air vents cut into it, and I'm happy because that runs all the way along down there. You can't see it, I can't focus on it, so that's fine. This was a real pain to take off. There's 2 magnets deep down there that hold it in, and it's got to come up straight. We're going to put that back now, and then we never have to take it off again. Yep, that's good. We're going to glue the tail plane on, and you've got to be careful because you can glue it too tight into the fuselage and it hits on the exhaust nozzles. So I'm going to glue one in. Get a good straight gap, I'll show you it in a minute, along there, and then duplicate that on the other side. Now this paint is so well put on, I'm not going to bother taking it off. I'm just going to glue this in using foam tack, but paint to paint. I'm not concerned that it's going to give. Well, it's got lots of foam tack on it. Let's give it a fit. Take it out. Just smooth it out a bit and put it back in. There's a line that you can follow. That's good. I'm going to leave it like that. There's the gap. Let's keep it that way. There. So you can see this can move freely, and I'll duplicate the same gap on the other side when I go and stick it on.
20 minutes later.
That's good. I'm going to make the other one the same. Okay, so those two gaps for the elevators are the same. So there's my gap there. This is the other gap. So put that level there and there. Yeah, they're good. I'll leave those, let those dry like that. Now one thing I was thinking about is this wing has tabs which go into these holes. I am toying with the idea of putting a pin through there and a pin through there rather than gluing. So I'll let the magnets hold it, but I'll also put holes in there, and I think I might do that now while I can see it. So as an example, I'll put a hole through there and a hole through there, that's one. And then back here I can put one through there and one through there. So what I'll do is remove those, of course, just make sure they've got nice holes. Same as there. Then putting this wing on, it's got the magnets, as I say, that hold everything in. I'm just going to pull this out. The signal wire is to the back, as it is on here. I'm going to put that into there. And then this has no choice but to go into a hole in there. So I'm going to push that back in. So it goes into there. I might need a little stick. Of course, before I can do any of that, I've got to get this spar on. Just trying it for fit. Let's do the spar. Spar goes a certain way and then locks. That's what I like. Now we're running the spar through the fuselage and out the other side. There we go. Like so. Going to connect these up now. There we are. Continue to push that through there. that's it. This wire's buckling, but I need it to go into the hole and buckle. So buckle into the hole. I think I can do that by pushing that in there. Get that to buckle that way. There you go. Those are going in like that. And those two holes I've made, I'm going to glue some cocktail sticks through them. Through there. So it goes all the way through. There we go. And that's it. Through there. Into that part and then down. That's it. And now that's not coming out at all. I don't know if I even recorded that. Anyway, what I've done is I've basically put the wings on, and where the wing tabs went into recesses in the fuselage, I've pushed holes through and put cocktail sticks in to pin the wing in. And I've done that on both sides, both wings. So I haven't glued the wings in, but I have pinned them in place, so you're not going to pull that apart. And of course the spars go through there as well. That's all dried. So the next part that I want to do, I do have this on video because I'm recording it right now. Now I know the sword goes on the inside. That's going to go in there. Just if I could pin this as well. That's going to go, oh maybe not so well. That's going to go in there. Yeah, that's it. There we go. And that's how that goes. I might as well just glue them in. Right, so I've smothered that with foam tack. I'm just going to slot it in. Lovely. Yeah, that's not coming away. I'll just let the foam tack do what it does there. I'm not even going to lift it up. That's fine. Let's do this one this way. I'll take it off. So again, I hope you can see that. I've basically covered all of this with foam tack. And we're going to shove it in there. Use it out. I do love Magnum. That slowly sticks. Now normally with foam tack you would take it apart, but that doesn't need to come apart. That's going to glue in there very nicely. Very nicely indeed. That is that one. Right. Let's leave those to dry. There's some long rods for here and there's some shorter rods for here. They will probably need twisting into place. Yeah, they're far too long, look at that. Far too long. So let me do a bit of twisting. A few things I don't like about this. These servos have arms with multiple holes in them. There's at least 6 holes, 5 to 6 holes in each arm. None of the holes are big enough to take the push rods. There's no instructions on what hole you should be going for. So basically I'm just using my, be it common sense or stupid sense, and I am going for the second hole down on each servo arm. I'm going 2 holes down, and it's the second hole down that I'm enlarging so I can get my push rod in. And then when I connect to the horn, I'm connecting to the top hole on the horn. Let's connect that up. That seems okay. That's centered. So it's a little too far up, so I've got to disconnect it and pull it back a bit. Also, as I thought, that tiny piece of tubing that they give you there, that tiny bit of tubing, I don't know if you can see it there, I tried to push it over the shoulders of this clevis and it just broke. So I'll definitely be putting some of my own tubing over those. Right, that's looking quite good. Got it on the top hole on the horn. Put a piece of my own tubing on there, wound it back so this is basically level, and it's on the second hole down on the servo arm. And that's way too much movement. Probably just need that sort of movement when you're flying, if at all. My Hawk has got about that much. So that's good. Center it. Right, let's move on to the elevator. Elevator, much longer rod. This one looks a bit bent. So here I'm going to just put this up against here. See where it comes. Yes, it's a little bit out. So do the twist.
My daddy is sleeping and mama ain't around. Yeah, daddy's just sleeping and mama ain't around. We're gonna twist it till we tear the house down. Come on and twist, yeah, baby, twist.
It's just all rough at the moment. They do seem to have a bigger hole. 3 holes down, you know. Yeah. Okay. So I think on these we can use the 3rd hole down. Now this is 3rd hole down seems a bit bigger on the elevator servos. So let's see how this goes. Needs twisting a bit more.
She knows how to twist.
Put this over the shoulders. That's much better. Alright, let's see how that goes. Yeah, good. So now we've just got to repeat that on the other side. Right, so that's all done. Let's give them a quick test. So we've got do the ailerons first. Working fine. While we're talking about the electronics on this, by the way, I've been informed that the electronic speed controller in here, the 30 amp, is identical to the ones in the Arrows Hobbies T33 Hawk and Viper. And for what I've seen on this and what I've seen when I've been upgrading mine to 40 amps, is that the actual motor and the fan units are the same as well. Anyway, that's fine. Just try the elevator, because that's all there is next. There is no rudder. Lots of movement, we won't need half of that. Half will probably need about this much, if that. That's it, that's level. And that's basically it, apart from the CG and the electronics. Okay, I've painted the cockpit, it's not brilliant, but let's get it in there. Okay, there we are, at least it's different to the grey. And it is a bit glossy in places, I don't know. You might find out once you've got a battery and you have to do a bit of foam hacking. A little nose cone needs to go on. Let's finish the job. Let's put the nose cone on. Made out of a hard plastic. It's got a tongue in it, which goes into the groove on the nose here, like that. That's it. So we're going to stick that in, and we're going to use foam tack to do it. Just notice this nose looks a little dented. Who knows? Who knows that this nose is dented or not? No point putting anything on the end of this because there's nothing there, it's just space. There we are. So there's no point putting glue here because it doesn't go up against anything inside the cone. There we are. I say, it looks rather smart. This is very interesting. There's a panel line, you can't just about see it on this side, which is here. And there's one on the other side. Now if you measure back 110 from that panel line, you get to where I've marked the C of G. So the manual is right if you measure it from this panel line back. If you're measuring from this wing root here back, it's 55. That is half the distance than that. I don't know if you can see by this, but basically that is 55 millimeters to this point here, and all I've done is come out 3 centimeters from the fuselage, and I've done the same on the other side. That's where I'm going to have my centre of gravity. I'm going to do the usual. I'm going to get some stickers, stick them on, put the pegs in so I can feel it balancing.
346 minutes later.
Wow, what a pain in the backside this thing turned out to be. It's a real mess. As you can see, I've been doing lots of foam hacking. Also, where the Velcro was, or the Velcro board and the strap, complete waste of time. It was just too far forward in the canopy, but I think I've finally got it. I've had to add weight to the tail, but what a joke. Let me show you the insides. So before we go in there, this is the canopy. I've had to take off the plug. I've cut these sides all the way back. That's so cables and the battery wire can go through here. I'm still not convinced I've finished, but that's what I've done there. So that's what I've got. I've got my AR630 at the front. Little extensions I've put in go to connectors that are underneath this plate. This plate was much further forward, so I moved it back. I had to cut a trench into the foam at the bottom so that the connectors lie flat, so this plate could go back on. I cut a trench all the way down here so these wires can just go underneath there. Put a strip of Velcro down after I hot glued the wires under there, and also hot glued this plate back on. The receiver is not held on with hot glue, it's held on with double-sided sticky pad. There's a little bit of hot glue here, just holding those nice and neat. So that now means I have a choice of battery. Oh, sorry. And I had to put 15 grams of weight on the tail. No. That now means I could use an 1800 3S65C. That goes right in at the back, as far back as I can get it. Goes onto the Velcro. This will fit nice and snug, and it will balance. Slightly nose heavy. There we go. I can use a 1500 45C. That, I believe, has to come a little bit further forward. It does take a bit of trial and error to get it done, and you can see here this is raised up a little bit. That's why I've had to cut this stuff out. Yeah, there we go. That's where that goes. And then finally, although I don't think I can use it, I've got an 1800, but it's a 25C. But that can go, I think that goes up here a little bit. But I don't think 25C is going to be any good for this. And it all balances out based on where I can put the battery. I'm using an AR630 at the moment. The reason for that is I want to see how it behaves. So I've got safe for launch, AS3X for flying it, safe for landing. If I feel it's okay and it's not going to give me too much trouble, then I'll replace that with an AR410, and that means there'll be less weight up front, so I can probably lose a bit of weight on the tail. Phone. I think I'll be coughing it up for a week. Well, I've just finished building the F18, the Eachine F18. It went together extremely well, no problems at all, except when I came to put the battery in the battery bay. Where I wanted to put the receiver, I couldn't because the battery had to go right the way back. I just ended up cutting tiny bits of foam out again and again and again and again and again and again. You've seen on the video what I had to do. It's taken me hours. It should have taken me... In fact, the actual build of this is quick. Take the filming away, you could do it in half an hour. Easy. But then, genuinely, I spent 3 hours, maybe, just cutting foam away to try and get things into that cockpit area. I've done it, it's ready, it balances, it is carrying, what, 15 grams additional weight. Be interesting to see how it goes. One of the batteries I've got I don't think will be any good. It's an 1800 25C. It's not really made for jets. It fits, it balances, but I don't know. I don't think it'll have the guts to get it going. We'll see. The other two batteries I'm happy with. One's a 1500, a 45C, and the other is a nice big fat 1800 65C. So that will be the one that I use. In fact, I've got two of those. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Do stay safe, do stay well, and I'll see you on another video soon. There goes another bit of foam. Cheers.